So hi again. I had to break this up in two parts. So here we are in the 1990s, and the correction or the cycle low in 1998 was actually very shallow. I know in Norway we were down 50%, but not so in the US. So we are at the time for a cycle low, break out, the scary correction, giving us this trend line. Actually we're using the same trend line as the previous cycle. Perhaps that was a warning sign that we were so overbought here, not letting air out really here. Anyway, reaching the time for the cycle top. We are chopping around here, staying above trend line and just barely the FLD before breaking down, and we have the downtrend with a fake breakout. Could have been a low here a bit early, yeah, could have been, but quickly breaking down to the expected time for a cycle low, actually having a double low, a very late low here. So that leaves us very little time for this next cycle. We have the breakout and reaching the time for a top. Again, not making an all-time high, so this is actually, call it bullish. One probably was confused at this time. Where is the cycle low? Are we overextending? Are we going to crash down here? No, staying above, and finally reaching the time where downside no longer is an issue, so we have stayed above. Uptrend continuing, the scary correction a bit early in 2006. So again we have a trend line going over two cycles. Finally breaking at the expected time, 2007, breaking below, trending down to a normal time for a low, and we have the breakouts and the scary pullback, scary correction in 2010, establishing the uptrend. We have a lower high, so we get a higher low. Very early low here in 2011. Don't trust it before we get into here, but we had the breakout and staying above, so we have a new uptrend. No real scary correction here. So we get to the time for a top, starting to testing and chopping and overextending and finally breaking down, but no panic. Trying to break out, not successful. We get a double low, and we are at the time where we may have the cycle low. We break out and we have another cycle uptrend. No real scary correction here at this time, but we have the uptrend getting to the time for a top. This was maybe a bit early, so going below trend line but staying above FLD, overextending a bit before finally giving in. And this is, or was, a bit early, an early cycle low. Wouldn't trust it before we get into here, but we have the breakout and staying above. So is this, or was this, the new trend for this cycle? Expecting to end up here somewhere, or maybe the scary correction would have brought us here somewhere. Anyway, that didn't happen. We had the COVID panic breaking down, and a very late low, so we have a breakout, another uptrend. Here the scary correction, not as scary as the previous one. So where to put the uptrend here? Always difficult with these very deep panics. So is it like this, or where, like this? I think maybe this trend line is better. from here, support, and then then we have shorter and shorter time before the testing, before we finally break down. So we are here now below the FLD. We have broken the trend line. We are at the time to expect a top. So we could bounce back and overextend and chop around here below the trend line and above the FLD. But my expectation is we break down further the next coming weeks and get a shoulder in April, May, and then we continue down to the normal timing for a low, and we'll have a look at that later sometime. Thank you. Hope this was helpful. See you later.